Hey, it's Tim. Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. Yesterday, Stellantis, the parent brand of, Abarth, Alfa Romeo, Chrysler, Citroen, Dodge, DS, Fiat, Fiat Professional, Jeep, Lancia, Maserati, Mopar, Opel, Peugeot, Ram, and Vauxhall brands. Good Lord, they got a lot of brands. Had an EV day where they announced lots of new changes coming to vehicles. They're going to save the planet by going totally EV in the future at some point. Everything's going to be electrified. So a lot of details come out of this. We're going to focus on this video about the Ram truck they talked about, the battery electric Ram truck. Check the website out. There's a Chrysler SUV, Jeep 4xe going. That 4xe technology is going throughout the Jeep lineup. Lots of information going out there for more EV technology. And so in this case, we have a Ram 1500 pickup that's going to be a battery electric. Now this is joining a chorus of different automakers trying to make this work. I mean, there's a lot of challenges involved, and they're really working hard to try to bring a solution to the marketplace that people will actually buy. And frankly, I mean, I'd love an EV. An EV would be great. I could just, drive around, plug it in my house, fantastic. I had concerns about how it's going to work. Big concerns, huge, massive concerns. But I think, eventually that's where the market's going to go anyways. And so let's go ahead and talk about what's coming out, and then let's talk about what we know about it, and then kind of give some ideas on maybe what we can see from that. So let's start with this one. This is the STLA frame. So this is going to be their, it's going to be the platform and the frame in which all STLA, which is going to be the EV platform vehicles, going to be built from. And this is going to be talking about how the Ram platform is going to be built. So we can see some pretty similar things. You've seen some other brands happening. So we have independent front suspension. You can see that that's cut right there. And usually they've been doing a lot with EV models and making a motor on each wheel. It's kind of the idea of having more instantaneous torque, and you get the better torque benefits from an EV, plus motor at each wheel makes it a lot pretty efficient. So then we have the battery going underneath the seats in the cabin, which helps the center of gravity and makes the truck ride even better by putting all the weight right in the middle of the truck. So, I mean, you're seeing some benefits there. And then they'll probably encase this. It'll be like breaking into Leavenworth and trying to get into prison or something. It's going to be so much materials protecting this battery. The leakage is going to be not a concern at all by the time we get all done with this. I can't see all the way in the back. I'm trying to see if it's an independent rear suspension. It kind of looks that way to me. So independent front, independent rear, which really that's happening right now anyways. Tahoe's going that way. Yukon's going that way. Some of the larger full-size SUVs are going that way anyways. And I could see full-size trucks heading that way as well. And we have a little more of a sleek look to it. You can see the design's a little more sleek. And then, they get rid of that front air. You don't need that. So it's probably just looks like the Mustang Mach-E, where it's got that Ram, and it had that same kind of look. And then looking directly at the front, we can see, you see those motors up front. You can see the electric motors powering each wheel, separate as far as independent front suspension. You can kind of see the idea, the design shape. It's going to be even more aerodynamic because that makes sense for an electric vehicle. And we go back to one of the first slides. So this is a full portfolio of Ram e-technology. We can see e-technologies include battery electric vehicles. So we have the benefits here are obviously power and torque. I mean, power and torque is going to be immediately better electric vehicles. No matter what, it's going to be better. You have fuel economy. That's going to be better electric vehicles. I mean, it should be, right? Electricity costs overall. I do have some concerns where electricity is coming from, and then eventually when you have so much demand electricity, the cost is going to change because it's a commodity, supply and demand. Onboard power, that's going to make a lot of sense, right? So Ford came out with this with a power boost. You can see Ram. I think everybody's going to do it at some point, right? It makes a lot of sense to have an onboard generator. It's really nice to use. I use mine all the time, and so I can see this happening quite a bit. Onboard power here for the Ram 1500 battery electric. Unique style proportion. We talked about that a little bit. You can see that design is a little bit different styling. And I would say it's probably going to be a crew cab, 5-foot bed. It's going to be very simple to start off with because they're going to try to get some volume going to replace the costs of R&D before they really start branching out different cab configurations, bed length, stuff like that. And then you have a range electric paradigm breaker, REP. It's all the driving characteristics of battery electric vehicles with the real world range and flexibility. We've heard that a lot. And I've yet to see it live up to anything. I mean, this is kind of vaporware right now. It's not existing, and this is a lot of laboratory speak, math on a dry erase board. And again, I want to see what it looks like when it comes out into the marketplace. And then looking at some customer first for the Ram e-technology, uncompromised capability, obviously, performance, efficiency, improved noise vehicle handling, noise vibration harshness. So quieter, right? Eco-friendly image for the brand. advanced automation, so they're looking at more drive features. They're probably going to look at something like a Super Cruise eventually that GMC is rolling out in the Sierra, and Ford's rolling out in their Blue Cruise, where the vehicle will be able to drive itself. Reduced cost of ownership. Overall, EVs do cost less on a cost of ownership basis. Onboard power, talked about that. Smart storage solutions like the Ford F-50 Lightning has that big frunk, and yes, it's called a frunk. People leave me comments on this. It's called a frunk. I'm sorry. It's what it's called. And it's got some storage in there. So that's what's going on there. And then the biggest thing is customer concerns, because there's a lot of concerns in these trucks. They're fast charging. We have to have fast charging for this. Nobody's going to wait for an hour and a half, 2-3 hours to charge a truck empty to full. And I know people don't do it empty to full often. I understand there's a lot of conversation about that, but just some really solid concerns. Dynamic range mapping. So what this allows you to do is it's going to be able to put it into your destination, and it'll calculate how far you get to the different charging stations to make sure you get to destination on some power. Versus like driving along and you got to find the gas station, pull over and you just find the gas station. When you're doing long distance trips with the EV, that range is consistently being recalculated the whole time you're driving, and so you want to make sure that you have the range mapped out as you're driving. So that's going to be very important. That's where like Tesla's done it. That's where the Mustang Mach-E's done it, where it shows you stations as you're driving to make sure you pull over and charge to make it your destination with enough power. EV dynamic trip energy prediction. And that's going to be charge station located there. EV dynamic trip energy prediction. Those are all the same ideas, all going together. Smartphone controls, smart charging, vehicle preconditioning. So vehicle preconditioning is pretty important for EVs. It allows them to precondition and get maximum efficiency, and different drive modes, obviously. What I think is really interesting is down the corner. I kind of skipped this. Is instant torque enhanced towing. So I think that's really interesting because we're talking about a half ton here. And so if you're going to get even better torque, and if you can get some range up, stuff like that, you could have a truck that's going to be pretty much better than a heavy duty at times, depending on how long you're towing. And that's the other part of that question is like, so what? You can get off the line faster. How far can you tow with this electric truck? And so there's a lot of interesting things there, and I think it's interesting they put it on their slideshow because there are a lot of questions about this currently. Finally, looking at their Built to a Sustainable Planet, the better portfolio of e-technology, what they're working on is this is all mission statement stuff. This is all bold idea stuff, and this, I don't know. I've written some of these. Sometimes they turn out, sometimes they don't. But Ram will differentiate itself from competitors by offering a full portfolio of electrified solutions to better meet customer needs. So a full portfolio. So you're looking at Ram, looking at their vans, and looking at the trucks. I mean, that's what they offer. Start production of the Ram 1500 battery electric vehicle in 2024. So in a couple of years, you're going to start production of this. For a full electrified solution in the majority of our segments by 2025. So again, vans, things like that coming out. Deliver a full portfolio of electrified solutions for all segments no later in 2030. So they're going to provide a vehicle in all segments by 2030, no later than 2030. And the thing that gets kind of lost in all this kind of stuff, and it gets kind of, people get a little frustrated about this stuff, is that this is big pie in the sky talking right now. Infrastructure is still a concern. Customer demand is still a concern as well. I mean, it's like we got to figure all this stuff out before stuff really takes off. And I really do think that this is going to be a low volume seller for a while. And then eventually it'll catch on as people's lifestyles change to adapt to the electric vehicles. So I think the exciting part here is they're talking 500 miles of range, and we've been hearing 230, 300 in that segment of range. So they're really trying to go 500, which is, everybody's got a different number, right? So anytime you talk to EV people, they have a different number saying mass adoption is at this much range in the battery. And I don't think anybody really knows what that is. I know for me, I don't really know what my number is. I really don't. I mean, I had a day where I drove 20 miles. Had a day where I ended up driving 310 miles. I have a varieties of days, and there's days I want to wake up and go for a road trip and be gone for a week and just drive. And so go like 1,000 miles a day. Well, that's hard to figure out as far as what my range would need and where I would fall into the segment of having an EV. I still think of EVs as secondary vehicles, and I know that automakers are trying hard to get rid of that image. I like the idea of having a second one around, running around town, errands like that, but keeping my gasoline version when I need to go for a longer trip. And I know they're working on bigger battery storage and faster charge storage, and I know we're working on that stuff, but that's still where I'm at as a consumer. And one of my concerns with this new technology is that this Ram truck is going to be more expensive than electric or a gasoline truck right now, especially. And so, you're going to pay more for less range, for more work to make sure it's charging. It's a lot of different decisions for the consumers on what makes sense for them. So that's what we have right now. You're going to have some more conversation with this. I'm sure we're going to hear some bigger numbers as we keep going. Ram's going to start talking more press releases on this. We'll hear it's going to have 1,000 foot-pounds of torque each wheel or something. We're going to have 20,000 pounds of towing or something. We're going to see a lot of grandiose numbers and statements, and I'm just sitting back, being pragmatic as I am, and waiting to hear some actual numbers and some truth. But I do like the idea. You got to offer something for all the consumers, and consumers definitely changing. They're still going to have a lot of people that still want a gas engine, a lot of people that want a diesel engine, and we have some people who want an electric engine. So, hey, let's give everybody what they want. So there you go. That's what I have for you today on this news. Make sure you check this other video out over here. Website down below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you down the road.